I really thought we were past this. I really thought we took care of this about 15 years ago when I was in college back in 2009. But apparently, when IGN cannot come up with new controversies, they gotta dig up an old one that was stupid then and is just as stupid now. Well, what's up again there, guys? Brian here to 3 Topics Gamer, and I'm not really in the mood for pleasantries or sweet little intros because I'm really pissed off from one of, if not the single dumbest video I think IGN has ever uploaded on their channel, at least in recent memory. So, a couple days ago, IGN uploaded a video going over reasons as for why Resident Evil 5, which, mind you, this is an original copy of Resident Evil 5 that came out in 2009 for the Collector's Edition, which I would like to state right now, I personally really enjoy Resident Evil 5. It's my second favorite Resident Evil game of all time, and to this day, it is still my all-time favorite co-op video game of all time. In fact, if it didn't have that co-op element, I probably wouldn't have enjoyed it as much as I did. But going back to the topic at hand. So, apparently, IGN had this guy, maybe it was this one guy, maybe it was a group of people, make this video going over all of the reasons why Resident Evil 5 could not be remade. And their big take is the fact that they stated that Resident Evil 5 is a racist video game because you are playing as a white guy going to the continent, not country of Africa, because Africa is not a country, it is a continent, and you are going there, and you are a white guy killing a bunch of black people. This is an idea that existed when the game was revealed. And the fact that this asshole wants to bring this up again after so many times, anyone who has played this game knows this game is not racist in the slightest. And the fact that even during the last time I streamed this game, I literally went on about maybe 10 to 15 minute rant stating how that as a black person, as you can apparently see, I'm black. See, I'm black. I'm a black guy who is not offended in the slightest that I am playing as either a white man in Chris or a black woman in Sheva, going through an fictional African town and killing primarily black people. Apparently, if you like this game, which I do, I love this game, you are apparently racist. And they went into all these stupid reasons as for why it couldn't be remade. Now, trust me, Resident Evil 5 is not a perfect game. It's got a few issues that even to this day I still have with it, but it is still a fun game that I enjoy. And anyone who has a basic or even beyond beginner's understanding of Resident Evil lore would understand that going to Africa was actually a very good direction and probably something that would have eventually happened, because anyone who knows anything about the origins of the T-virus can actually trace it back to Africa. So for me at the time when this game came out, I actually thought, oh, this is a great idea because we actually get to revisit and go back to where the T-virus started. And the fact that you had characters like Chris and Jill and Wester kind of felt like we were kind of going back to Resident Evil 1's atmosphere in terms of those type of characters by bringing in the next generation of what I thought were going to be Resident Evil characters in the form of Josh and Sheva. That's what I thought. But apparently, this is a racist game if you happen to play a white guy killing black people in an African continent. Where are all the people complaining about Resident Evil 4 when you were playing as an American going to Spain, killing a bunch of Spaniards? Where were all the people complaining then? Because I've not heard that. I mean, what about, let's go a little bit further. How about in Resident Evil, say, 6, when you're playing as Chris and you're killing, let's not even go there, because then I'm going to go. It's just stupid. It's just stupid how they're trying to create issues that don't exist. Resident Evil 5 has its issues on a technical level, sure, and even maybe in a story sense. It's got a couple issues, but being racist is not one of them. And the fact that even this presenter even went so far as to say that Resident Evil 5 needed a black protagonist. Which tells me either this person is either stupid, openly ignorant, or didn't even play the game, because Sheva is just as important to this game as Chris. In fact, there is a moment where, after, spoiler alert, you actually find out that Jill Valentine is alive and you actually get the mind controlling device off her chest. There was a moment where, heck, maybe they could have Chris team up with Jill and they can go after Wesker. But no, that's not what happened. Jill told Sheva that she needed to stay with Chris and they needed to take out Wesker. While Jill would eventually go team up with Josh, who is another black protagonist, and would escape in order to get a chopper and a set of rocket launchers to give to Chris and Sheva to finish off Wesker. This game is not racist. It's not racist. Sure, towards the end, it does get a little bit action heavy, with primarily most of the enemies using machine guns, and that's understandable, but they kind of did the same thing in the last chapter of Resident Evil 4, when you go to the military base, where primarily most of those guys are using assault rifles and Gatling guns. So I think having this little focus on it, focusing a little bit more on action, was something that was very much introduced in Resident Evil 4. And on a personal level, I personally don't feel like Resident Evil 5 needs to be remade. Not that it couldn't be remade. I'm just a person who believes that, you know what, there's certain games that I really enjoy, even back then, that I don't feel need to be remade. They do them anyway, and that's perfectly fine. For example, they remade Resident Evil 4. And personally, I did not really like the remake of 4. I played the demo, and that was enough for me to realize I'm probably not going to like this demo. For me, Resident Evil 4 to this day is my 5th favorite video game of all time, of any video game. And I'm happy that there are people that like the remake, but heck, I didn't really, it doesn't really work for me, so it's not a game that I really enjoyed. Heck, they even remade Final Fantasy VII, which is another game I absolutely love. This is the single most important video game that I've ever played, and I'm not a fan of what they did in the remake. I understand that a lot of people are having a blast with it, and heck, I got crucified online for a recent video I uploaded because I stated how I didn't want to play the remake and it wasn't for me, but apparently you'll have a problem with that. Well, for Resident Evil 5, which I have multiple copies of, and I've probably played it on probably the second most amount of console or handheld devices between multiple settings. And I think I have a third copy for the gold edition that's somewhere around here. But it's just stupid. And apparently, if you liked Resident Evil 5, you were racist too. And it threw out all these stupid ideas. And it's just so sad that IGN would hire people like this. Or that this was even approved. Like, did anyone, like, proofread this? And apparently maybe they knew that they screwed up, or they knew that they were going to be attacked, because apparently on Twitter, or X, what they're calling it now, you couldn't even respond to that post. And I'm even surprised that the comment section to the YouTube video on IGN is still up, because this video was getting downvoted like crazy. I think it's got, like, at this point, like, over, from what I last checked, it had like 12,000 thumbs down, so like only 2,000 thumbs up. So it's clear that the mass majority of us who actually are fans of the Resident Evil franchise are not stupid. We're not ignorant. Resident Evil 5 is not racist in any sense. It's a fun game. Sure, could they make some improvements? Sure. But if there's one thing I respect Capcom being a Japanese gaming development team have, is they really don't give a crap what we people here in the West. They know they're not racist. Resident Evil 5 was never a racist game. In fact, I appreciate them for a number of things that they did that still this day are very, very fun. And what's even funnier is the fact that IGN themselves rated this game a 9 when this game came out. It was a 9. So even with the controversy that existed at the time, they still thought this was an amazing game, which personally, that's a higher rating than I would have given Resident Evil 5 at the time. The highest I would have gone is maybe an 8.5, just based off the fact that it got a little too action heavy towards the section of the game. And I think the AI for Sheva was not perfect, but to be fair, the AI for Chris, if you played as Sheva, was considerably worse. But like, it's just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous that we have to revisit this after all this time, and I think it's stupid. And I just felt like I had to come online, and as a black man, just say that I'm not offended by Resident Evil 5. I never have been. I love this game. In fact, just to give IGN the big middle finger, I think this upcoming Wednesday, I think I'm going to do a full-on playthrough of this game just to show how much I really love this game. And if they do happen to remake 5, then I hope they at least keep the co-op element and they make some of the proper improvements I think could respect the original game without insulting the original fan base that really had fun with this game. Because I think even to this day, Resident Evil 5 is either still the best-selling Resident Evil game, or it's certainly in the top 5 best-selling Resident Evil games of all time. So apparently, most people who have brains and aren't sensitive know how fun this game can be, especially with a friend, which is really one of the driving forces as for why so many people like this game the way they do. So yeah, I just felt the need to have to come online and just give my 2 cents on this as a black man who does not have a problem playing as a white person who has to gun down people who are infected by the Ouroboros virus who happen to be black in the African continent and have to go to multiple different locations to deal with all different variations of Africans of descent. So yeah, it's just stupid. So yeah, that's really all I have to say. So I'd like to know, are you just upset with this stupid, non-existent controversy as I am? I'd love to know your thoughts in the comments down below. So please let me know your thoughts down below. And like always, thank you guys for watching. You're awesome, and I will see you next time.